Domains of Earth. As it has already been stated that Earth is the only planet in the solar system which sustains life. The major domains of the Earth which help to sustain life are lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere. These domains are interactive and interdependent spheres. The solid portion of the Earth on which we live is called lithosphere. Rocks in their solid form are found only in the lithosphere. The gaseous envelope of air that surrounds the Earth is known as atmosphere. The atmosphere contains oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and inert gases. The domain of water, which covers a very big area of the Earth's surface, is called hydrosphere. It comprises water in all its three states, that is solid, liquid, and gas. The realm of life is called biosphere, which is a narrow zone where we find land, water, and air together. It contains all forms of life. Lithosphere. Litho in Greek means rock. Rocks form the solid crust of the Earth and the thin layers of soil that contain nutrient elements which sustain organisms. There are two main divisions of the Earth's surface. The large land masses are known as continents, and the huge water bodies are known as oceans. All the oceans of the world are connected with one another. Out of the total area of lithosphere, about 71% is covered with water. The remaining 29% is above the surface of water in the form of land masses. The level of water is called the sea level. The height or depth of any point on the lithosphere is measured with reference in this point. For example, Mount Everest, the highest point on the lithosphere, is 8,848 meters above the sea level. Similarly, Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, the deepest point on the lithosphere, is 11,034 meters below the sea level. Continents. There are 7 major continents, namely Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia, North America, South America, and Antarctica. In the map of the world, the greater part of the landmass lies in the northern hemisphere, which is called land hemisphere. Most of the southern hemisphere is covered by oceans and seas. This hemisphere is called water hemisphere. Asia. It is the largest continent of the world. Asia covers an area greater than Europe and Africa put together. Sometimes Europe and Asia are together known as Eurasia. Asia is separated from Europe by the Ural Mountains and the Caspian Sea on the west. This continent covers about 1/3 of the total land area of the world, and it lies in the eastern hemisphere. The Tropic of Cancer passes through this continent. The continent is also bounded by oceans on 3 sides: the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Indian Ocean to the south, and the Pacific Ocean to the east. It has 2 most populous countries of the world, namely China and India. Africa. This is the second largest continent of the world. The equator passes through the middle of the continent. However, a large part of Africa lies to the north of the equator. It is the only continent through which equator, the Tropic of Cancer, and the Tropic of Capricorn pass. The world's largest hot desert, called the Sahara Desert, is located in Africa. The continent is bound on all sides by oceans and seas. Look at the world map. You will find that the world's longest river, the Nile, flows through Africa. A Strait of Gibraltar in the northwest and the Mediterranean Sea separate it from the European continent. The Suez Canal separates it from Asia. It is the busiest ocean route today. It has reduced a distance of about 7,000 kilometers between India and Europe. Europe. This continent lies to the west of Asia and is much smaller than Asia. It lies entirely in the northern hemisphere but extends into both eastern and and the Western Hemispheres. The Arctic Circle passes through it. On three sides, it is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, and the North Sea. Europe is a densely populated continent of the world. No other continent has left its impact on the other continents of the world, as Europe has done in the past 4 centuries. Europe is sometimes called the Peninsula of Asia. North America. This is the third largest continent of the world. It lies entirely in the northern and the western hemisphere. It is surrounded on all sides by oceans and seas, except to the south, where it meets South America. It is joined to South America by the Isthmus of Panama. An isthmus is a narrow strip of land joining two large land masses. The famous Niagara Falls between the Canada and United States lie in this continent. In the southwest of United States, a large part of the continent is a desert. Through human efforts, much of this desert has been turned into lush green fields. The continent is bordered by 3 oceans, namely the Pacific, the Atlantic, and the Arctic. South America. South America lies mostly in the southern hemisphere. The Andes Mountains in South America constitute the longest mountain system in the world. These mountains cover the entire western edge of the continent. The equator passes through its northernmost part. South America has the Amazon River, which is the second largest and the longest river of the world. Once, the whole area around the Amazon River was surrounded with very dense rainforests. Much of these rainforests have been cleared. Australia. The name Australia comes from the Latin word australis, meaning southern. This continent lies entirely in southern hemisphere. The Tropic of Capricorn passes through the middle of the continent. It is also called the island continent because it is surrounded on all sides by the ocean. This is the smallest continent and a country as well. Pacific Ocean. It is larger in area than all the oceans put together. Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the Earth, lies under the Pacific Ocean. It is circular in shape. Asia, Australia, North and South America surround it. Atlantic Ocean. This is the second largest ocean in the world, and it resembles the shape of the letter S. It is bounded on the west by North America, on the east by Europe, and to the north it merges into Arctic Ocean. This is the busiest ocean in the world. The coastline of Atlantic Ocean is highly indented. This irregular and indented coastline provides ideal location for natural harbors and ports. Indian Ocean. It is the only ocean named after a country, that is India. The shape of the ocean is almost triangular. In the north, it is bound by Asia, in the west by Africa, and in the east by Australia. Arctic Ocean. It surrounds the North Pole within the Arctic Circle. It is actually the northern extension of Atlantic Ocean. It is connected with the Pacific Ocean by a narrow stretch of shallow water known as Bering Strait. It largely remains frozen with thick sheets of ice. It is bound by northern coasts of North America and Eurasia. Southern Ocean. It surrounds the continent of Antarctica at the South Pole. It is also considered as an extension of Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. Atmosphere. The blanket of air surrounding the Earth is known as atmosphere. It extends up to 1600 kilometers from the Earth's surface. It is very dense near Earth's surface, and as we go up, it becomes thinner and thinner. The atmosphere is divided into 5 layers depending on composition, temperature, and other properties. These layers are called the stratosphere, the troposphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere. These atmospheric layers prevent escape of heat from the Earth. They also do not allow harmful ultraviolet rays to reach the Earth. They also keep the Earth warm during nights and in winters. Cloud formation and rainfall on the Earth's surface take place in troposphere. Air is a mixture of many gases. The most abundant of these gases are nitrogen, 78%, oxygen, 21%, and inert gases, less than 1%. Water vapor and dust particles are also present in air. Oxygen is the breath of life, while nitrogen helps in the growth of living organisms. Carbon dioxide, though present in minute amount, is important as it absorbs heat radiated by the Earth, thereby keeping the planet warm. It is also essential for the growth of plants, as plants manufacture their food by the process of photosynthesis. Air has weight and exerts pressure on Earth's surface, but we do not feel this pressure because it is balanced by the pressure inside our bodies. The atmospheric pressure varies from place to place. Some areas experience high pressure and some areas low pressure. Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. Moving air is known as wind. The density of atmosphere varies with height. It is maximum at sea level and decreases rapidly as we go up. The climbers have to carry oxygen cylinders with them to be able to breathe at high altitudes. The temperature also decreases as we go upwards. Biosphere. Life is possible where all the three zones, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere come in contact. This narrow contact zone consisting of living organisms is called biosphere. This zone extends a little above the surface into atmosphere and a little below the surface and into the water bodies. There are several species of organisms that vary in size, from microbes and bacteria to huge mammals. All the living organisms, including human beings, are linked to each other and to the biosphere for survival. Only human beings belong to a single species. Plants and animals belong to thousands of species. The organisms in the biosphere can be divided into the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. The three domains of the Earth interact with each other and affect each other. For example, some of the water of the hydrosphere may evaporate, thus moving to the atmosphere. The excess of water vapor in the atmosphere causes the formation of clouds and rains. Thus, the atmosphere returns the water to hydrosphere. However, this tendency of nature to maintain a balance has a limit. If the environment is disturbed too much by the cutting of forests for fulfilling our needs or clearing land for agriculture, it may lead to fast removal of soil from slopes. Similarly, the Earth's surface may be changed due to natural calamities like earthquakes. For example, there could be submergence of land, such as parts of Andaman and Nicobar were submerged underwater recently due to tsunami. If the environment is disturbed too much, some permanent and harmful changes may also take place. Pollution and global warming. Emission from industries, thermal power plants, and vehicles pollute the air. Carbon dioxide is an important constituent of the air. But increase in the amount of carbon dioxide leads to increase in global temperature, which is called global warming. Thus, there is need to limit the use of resources of Earth to balance the nature between the domains of lithosphere, the atmosphere, and the hydrosphere. If we wish to maintain the balance in nature, we must use our resources judiciously. We must check the pollution of land, air, and water.